Attack on Fort Hood. Soldiers and families at one of the largest military installations in the world on lockdown.
Total chaos. People were bleeding, ambulances on the way, but they weren't there yet.
Preliminary reports indicate there was a single shooter that was shot multiple times at the scene.
13 dead in what appears to be the worst mass shooting ever on a U.S. military base.
It is horrifying that they should come under fire at an Army base on American soil.
The rampage's #1 suspect is an Army major and mental health professional.
Major Nidal Malik Hassan.
That day, November 5th, 2009, is just buried into our memories. Major Nidal Hassan admits to killing 13 people, wounding 32 more. He's representing himself at his court-martial. Now, first, CNN's Ed Lavandera joins me from Fort Hood, Texas. And Ed, Hassan's standby defense tried to withdraw today, saying that Hassan was trying to get himself the death penalty. What's the latest on that?
Well, this is a situation and a legal drama that brought everything to a standstill today at Fort Hood, as the testimony was about 45 minutes late from starting. And as everything started, we learned that the 3 attorneys that are assigned to basically guide and navigate Nidal Hassan through this process, they're not representing him, but they're standing next to him, helping him out if he needs any kind of help. They basically told the judge that they want to modify their role in this case, and essentially they're saying that Nidal Hassan is working with the prosecution to ensure that he gets the death penalty, and that these attorneys say they can't stand by and watch that happen. Nidal Hassan kind of objected to what they were saying, but before anything else could be said this morning in court, the judge shut everything down and took this into a private meeting just between those attorneys and Nidal Hassan. They were told that we'll come back tomorrow and try again.
Okay, Ed Lavandera, thank you so much. We appreciate it. If that's true, it's going to frustrate a lot of people even more than they are frustrated right now when they hear about this case. Because think about this, folks. The Army has spent $5 million so far on this case, even footing the bill for a trailer for Hassan that he uses as an office. He's also still getting his salary, nearly $300,000 so far. But the victim's lawyers are saying that they aren't getting what they need. One of those lawyers, Neil Shear, joins me now from Killeen, Texas. Also with us, attorney Darren Kavanaugh in Los Angeles. So, Darren, let me start with you. Why does Hassan get to spend all this money and have whatever resources and the trailer and all that stuff that he wants while the victims are being denied their benefits?
Well, we've got to be careful on this, Ryan, not to collapse these two issues. Ultimately, when it comes to Hassan and what he gets, it all comes down to having integrity in the justice system. Wherever that justice system may be found, it's important that all of us have absolute confidence that it works with maximum integrity, that it does the right thing all the time, no matter who is watching it or what our interest may be. That's a separate issue from the one about the victims not being paid benefits because of a certain characterization or another. Those two things should not be linked, and we've got to be careful to keep them entirely separate so that we can have an intellectually honest conversation about it.
Okay, all right. But, Neil, let me ask you this. Is the defense that is being allotted for Hassan the same kind of defense that you think anyone would get?
Oh, that I don't know about. I mean, he's clearly been given, in our view, preferential treatment. Now, what is pretty clear to the people I represent, the victims, many of whom have come down here willing to open up horrible wounds to relive this tragedy, while at the same time, ever since this took place, they've been treated with the back of the hand by the government, characterizing this obscenely as workplace violence when everyone in the world, anyone looking at this, knows it was an act of terror. In fact, Hassan has proclaimed as much. He's a soldier of Mujahideen, he said. So the victims have gone through, really have gone through hell, and there's an open wound, and the government keeps pouring sand on it. And also bear in mind that we have claimed in our lawsuit, and the evidence is overwhelming, that this was a preventable tragedy, a preventable atrocity, because the government knew years before this attack that Hassan had jihadist tendencies. He was communicating with al-Waqi. He was preaching to his fellow soldiers about Osama bin Laden being a hero, and they did nothing. They promoted him, put him in a position to come here to Fort Hood, and we know what happened then.
Neil, what about the idea? Neil, what about the idea of him continuing to get paid?
Well, as I understand it, that's what the law is, but it doesn't do anything except aggravate our victims, because these people are suffering. They have been denied benefits. They've been denied pay they would have gotten had it been declared what it was, that is to say, terrorism, which would have given them combat-related benefits. So the juxtaposition of what he's getting and what the victims are getting, it's raw, it's stark, and frankly, it's obscene.
All right. Neil Scher, Darren Kavanoky, thank you so much for your time. We'll keep an eye on this case as we go forward, folks. Lynn?
All right, Ryan, so take a look. This little boy could have died in his family's swimming pool, but thanks to some quick-thinking workers inside his house, he is okay. But his celebrity parents are fighting again. Are the kids the real losers here? America's talking about it. That's coming up next.